Female thief. Be a husband who suppresses the stronghold, otherwise castrate and become a eunuch. Consort. I am aware of my mistake. Please spare your life and be willing to serve me. Bai Qi. Kill all rebellions in the world, and make all the lakes and seas under the rule of adults. Empress of the Kingdom of Luo. Chaotic officials and thieves, dare and commit the following crimes. Quickly release this palace. Empress Dowager of Xia. Would it be okay to let go of the AI family? The AI family has ordered all counties to surrender and help you ascend to the throne as emperor. Empress Dowager of Zhou. When I saw Your Highness, I thought you were a real dragon on earth. As long as you take care of the harem, take care of orphans and widows, and mourn for your family, I hope the whole country will unite. Zhuge Liang. Today we are at peace, and all the people are returning to our hearts because of the power of the king, which is truly an immortal achievement. I respectfully request the king to assume the throne, follow the will of heaven, ensure the safety of the people, establish the 8 directions, establish a foundation for generations, and bestow blessings on the people for eternity. Chapter 1. Their actions are light and their hearts are unpredictable. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. In June of the 17th year of Yuan Feng, the imperial capital of Qin, the central capital city. Dawn breaks. 13 corpses of Zhongqin uncle's family were transported from the prison. Confirming the death of Prince Zhongqin, Zhen Yu, resurrected in front of everyone's eyes. Officials and soldiers on duty, as well as passers-by, witnessed it with their own eyes. Zhen Yu suddenly jumped up from the pile of corpses, shouting incessantly. What kind of acting? What confuses truth with falsehood? What can't return to the blue star? Everyone was scared a lot. He ran around in prison clothes, and was stirred into a pot of congee at the entrance of the Western food market where people came and went not far from the prison. Wow, ghosts! Run quickly, the monsters are causing chaos. God open his eyes, the vengeful soul has been resurrected. The news spreads, the imperial capital shakes. A group of soldiers holding swords shouted loudly, dispersing the crowd in the West Market and charging towards Zhen Yu. Should the leader of the team be the deputy commander under the command of the Xiqing military and horse command, dressed in 6th grade military official attire? At this moment, the person was both surprised and angry. He reached out and pointed at Zhen Yu, saying, "Capture this thief." The soldiers rushed forward and caught Zhen Yu. The deputy commander stepped forward, his face flashing with killing intent. With a sharp thrust, the blade was unsheathed and placed on Zhen Yu's neck. The deputy commander's eyes were filled with desire to spew fire. "Zhen Yu, you're not dead yet." He received a secret order from the upper authorities to handle the remains of the Zhen family in a low-key manner, secretly monitoring who sympathized with the Zhen family and dared to come to mourn. The task is actually simple, after all, a bunch of dead people, what kind of tricks can there be? But unfortunately, dead people can come back to life. Not long ago, Zhen Yu collided with the imperial princess and was accused of plagiarism. The Zhen family died in prison one after another. In just a few days, without trial, the whole family died. It seems like someone is manipulating behind the scenes. Now, how can Zhen Yu be resurrected? Demon thieves, pretending to be gods and ghosts, disrupting the imperial capital, deserve eternal punishment. The deputy commander saw the opportunity to kill, raised his sharp blade, and wanted to take Zhen Yu's life. Suddenly, a sharp voice reached. "Stop it. Stop our family. Your Majesty has an order to summon Zhen Yu." The deputy commander's hand trembled, and the sharp blade dared not fall. The eunuch in the palace is not someone he can offend. He cannot bear the crime of disobeying the imperial decree. The main hall of the palace. The 61-year-old emperor had an angry expression on his face. "Who among you is going to tell me that Zhongqin uncle's mansion has been raided? Why don't I know about this? This statement surprised the courtiers. But no one dares to speak casually. The 69-year-old Grand Secretary of the Zhongji Temple, the head of the cabinet, appeared trembling. I don't know what your majesty means. If it weren't for the imperial edict being issued, how could Zhongqin uncle's mansion have been raided? 3 days ago, the old minister and the young master jointly submitted a memorial to your majesty for review. Is it possible that the imperial censor falsely transmitted the imperial edict? If there is such a cunning person, please punish your majesty severely. The old leader added a few words and burned the fire onto the inner history. I hereby request your majesty to severely punish traitors and sycophants. I would like to request your majesty to rectify the court and investigate the crimes of dereliction of duty committed by the imperial censorate. I, the left imperial censor, impeached the eunuch in charge of the imperial household department for exceeding his authority and rebelling recklessly, and drove the 700 soldiers of the Qianyo Guard of the Forbidden Army to build a private mansion for him, which is truly a great rebellion. For a while, the courtiers gathered together to report, taking advantage of the opportunity to criticize their political enemies. In the Ministry of Personnel and Household Affairs, it is necessary to offer advice with death. If there are concubines in the imperial palace who collude with internal history and external relatives, they will deceive your majesty, disrupt national politics, and cause the Zhongqin uncle mansion to be wronged and killed in prison. I dare to ask your majesty's orders and the 3 legal departments to investigate thoroughly. So far. Finally, someone came to the point of seeking justice for the deceased. But in the next moment, several voices of refutation echoed from the hall. Bold, just a new candidate, dare to speak nonsense in the main hall. If you're really reckless and ignorant, even though we, the esteemed officials, remain silent, you dare to slander us recklessly. When will it be your turn to lead the way in selling meat in the court? Undoubtedly, the speaker is a national relative. It is estimated that before his rise to fame, his family had run a meat shop. Perhaps there is also a mastermind behind the Zhongqin uncle mansion among them. The old emperor's eyes changed, his anger disappeared, and he realized that the situation was not right. The theft of Zhongqin uncle's mansion is not an easy matter. The matter involves the harem's competition for favor, and family shame cannot be publicized. It's not difficult to investigate the mastermind behind the scenes. What is the problem? Do you want him to deal with the harem and the nobles and relatives? That is equivalent to cutting off one's own arms, and even leading to estrangement between the prince and the princess, triggering internal conflicts within the royal family. The foundation of the court was shaken as a result. Will cause chaos in the court and the public. The cost is unbearable. Put the overall situation first. The emperor raised his hand to slow down, and the main hall instantly fell silent. The national government is busy, and I forgot about the decree just issued 3 days ago. It's okay, don't bring up this matter again. Come on, Xian Jinyu. Under the sunshine. The young man in tattered prison uniform walked slowly into the main hall. Seeing his upright posture and heroic demeanor, even with bloodstains on his prison clothes, it was hard to conceal his handsome appearance. He could be said to be a talented person with a jade tree in his demeanor. The officials in the court gathered their gaze and were amazed in their hearts. How could there be such a handsome prisoner in the world? In the eyes of the female officials, there were even more dazzling moments. I really can't blame His Majesty the Emperor. Due to her infatuation with Zhen Yu's sister, the 19-year-old concubine Zhenlan, who had been diligent in politics for more than 20 years, she went against the norm and did not appear in court for half a month, causing jealousy from the imperial concubines and anger from civil and military officials. Amidst the questioning and condemnation that covered the sky and the sun, Li Bin suddenly contracted an emergency and died suddenly. The result is nothing. The emperor was heartbroken, but more often than not, he was still alone. Now, everyone can understand why the old emperor was so infatuated with his concubines, seeing Jin Yu's down-to-earth demeanor far superior to the many high-ranking officials in the imperial robes in the main hall. On the throne, the emperor suddenly stood up, tears streaming down his face. The wrinkled hands trembled as they grabbed towards the direction of the palace gate. The infatuated call echoes through the hall. Li Bin, Li Bin. Lanner, is that you? Lanner. Zhen Lan's charm is unparalleled, and her beauty is not worthy of description. Anyone who has seen the beautiful concubine cannot forget her unparalleled beauty. The emperor's reaction is indeed normal. The main hall became quiet, except for the handsome prisoner of 17 who walked slowly forward. Criminals Jin Yu, pay respects to His Majesty the Emperor, long live, long live. Faced with the supreme imperial power that could easily take people's lives and even destroy their entire families, Jin Yu, whose soul pierced through her, endured her heart and bowed respectfully. The old emperor's body shook and he regained consciousness. He slumped down on the dragon chair, his mind wandering. Long live. This title is rare, but I'm not wrong. Perhaps it was the spirit of Lanner in heaven who used her brother's words to comfort me. The emperor spoke again. Be fair. Don't claim to be a sinner to the people, you are still my vassal. For the sake of Empress Li, I pardon the loyal and diligent uncle's mansion, and you will inherit the count. Your Majesty. A figure stood up. From the 3rd grade of literature, I have received the imperial edict and served as the young minister of the Taipu Temple. The brother of the imperial concubine and the uncle of the 3rd prince. Your Majesty, it is impossible. The court has its own laws and regulations, and the nobles of the country should not be conferred lightly. According to the rules of the imperial family court, the nobles' titles should be demoted and inherited. After a pause, he said again. Zhen Yu alarmed the princess, and Zhen was found guilty of stealing the family. Such a despicable scoundrel, disrespectful to the royal family, committed the following crimes. What qualifications do they have to inherit the title? I earnestly request your Majesty to think twice. The old minister stepped out. Your Majesty, what you have ordered is reasonable. The laws and regulations of the court should not be lightly violated. I request your Majesty to mourn, but Empress Dowager Li passed away unfortunately. However, during her lifetime, she repeatedly advised your Majesty to prioritize national affairs and refused to excessively reward the Zhen family. It is believed that the Empress Dowager still wants to uphold the laws and regulations of the court. Moreover, the Zhen family has been punished, and now only Zhen Yu is left. Her actions are light and thin, her heart is unpredictable, and she has no virtue or incompetence, and cannot be granted a high position. Listen to the minister's reminder. The old emperor was slightly surprised. What would Jin Yu, who was fortunate enough to be resurrected after the Zhen family was in trouble, think in her heart? The position of count cannot be restored. Suddenly, a female official appeared and bowed to the emperor. Your Majesty, I paid my respects to Princess Chang before, and the princess was nearby, mentioning Jin Yu. At that time, the princess only said, speak to this person in person, but she did not act recklessly. The courtiers were greatly surprised. If that's true, wouldn't everyone in the Zhen family be unjustly accused? Zhen Yu remained silent, feeling only absurd in her heart. The situation in his memory is different from what the female official said. At that time, he unexpectedly met during a field trip in the countryside. Princess Jiaman was attracted to his appearance and ordered someone to forcibly keep him bound. She took the initiative to throw herself in his arms and embrace him, clearly forcing and teasing him. So, the Zhen family is indeed unjustified. He Zhen Yu was even more helpless and restrained. How could such a thing be related to the dignity of the royal family? If he dared to speak up, it would completely cut off his own livelihood. Even if they say, who dares to believe, who dares to testify? I saw another person standing out and speaking to a female official, who was a loyal and obedient uncle of the state. The heavenly daughter of Dingwa, I cannot understand. Why do you justify this playboy? To be honest, I don't need you to understand. The Inner History Academy is only loyal to the Emperor. Just now, the officials criticized the Internal History Institute, which made her somewhat dissatisfied. Loyalty and obedience, Uncle Yen. Although he is a third-rank earl, what power can he have in his hands as he ascends to power with his daughter? There is no confidence to confront the female warrior who controls the inner court. The courtiers are afraid and silent. Zhen Yu looked at the female official speaking for her, and gratitude flashed in her eyes. Undoubtedly a martial arts master, you have your own confidence when speaking. Martial arts realm. Wutu, Wuzhe, Wusher, Wuzuan, Wushen. A mid-stage warrior with strong combat power may not necessarily appear among millions of people. Moreover, she comes from a royal family and is highly trusted by the royal family. Not only was she a second-ranked woman who was appointed as the heavenly queen of the country, but she was also the deputy chief of the imperial household department, who held great power and was the second in the ranks of imperial officials. The old emperor spoke again. I hereby appoint Zhen Yu as the colonel of the 8th rank military honor Zhao Lai, in honor of my deceased concubine. I will bestow 100 taels of gold and 100 taels of silver, and return to my hometown to serve on the same day. Zhen Yu thanks for your kindness. The officials led the decree. In the main hall, several people looked at Zhen Yu with a cold gleam in their eyes. How can chopping grass leave roots? If you want to firmly grasp power, you must timely eliminate hidden dangers. Zhen Yu withdrew from the main hall and saw a prompt in her mind. The host's military strength is low and their life is at risk. Open the martial arts mall and give away 500 martial arts points as a gift. Host Qin, from the 8th rank military officer to the colonel of the army, rewards 15 martial arts points this month, leaving 515 martial arts points. From the 8th rank Wushuan Zhao Lai colonel, 15 Wudao points, 530 Wudao points. Retired officials determine their rank and receive corresponding salaries. Wu Sun is respected and enjoys privileged treatment. As for the size of power, it depends on the specific official position. Zhen Yu has not yet received a specific assignment. Of course, the emperor's golden words. He will return to his hometown and serve as a local military officer. Chapter 2. Fateful Dispatch. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Task Generation 1. Upgrade to the 8th rank and reward 300 martial arts points. 2. Become a low-level martial artist and reward 200 martial arts points. 3. Evade the pursuit of Xian Hu, the deputy commander of the Xiqing army in horse command, and reward 800 martial arts points. 4. Return to Quanyang County, Beichuan Prefecture, Qianlin Road, hometown, and reward 1,000 martial arts points. Wudao Jian, gold, silver, copper, iron, mutual conversion. 1 martial art point equals 10 taels of gold equals 100 taels of silver. 1 tael of silver equals 1,000 copper coins equals 10,000 iron coins. Zhen Yu's pupils contracted and she smiled bitterly in her heart. Other tasks are not urgent, but are martial artists chasing after them. He recognized Xian Hu as his deputy commander who had previously killed him with a knife, and was a 31-year-old early warrior. 3 years ago, Xian Hu achieved the highest level of martial arts cultivation and passed the imperial examination. He was appointed as the commander of Zhenwei, a scattered official in the 6th rank of martial arts, and went to Shanhe Road to serve as a subordinate of the 6th rank 100 households under the Shanhe Town Military Bureau. Later, Xian Hu became a martial artist and joined the Jin family. He was transferred to the capital to serve as the 6th rank deputy commander of the Western City Army and Horse Command. Although it is a transfer at the same level, it is a military officer in the capital. Consort Jin Meiyan's father, Jin Shangli, is a 3rd rank loyal and obedient uncle. Uncle Jin Shangyi, 3rd rank Jidushi on Shanghe Road. Most importantly, Xian Hu, who is valued by the Jin family, has a bright future ahead of him. Xian Hu's plan to kill Jin Yu was mostly inspired by the Jin family. It is almost impossible for ordinary people to escape the pursuit of powerful warriors. Jin Yuzhen calmed her mind. Silently display the product. 1. 1 bottle of Ma boiling powder. An anesthetic studied by Huatuo. 1 martial art point. 2. 1 green snake crossbow machine. A small and delicate crossbow machine made of special spiritual iron, hidden in the sleeve of the clothes. It can be shot unexpectedly and is difficult to hit. It comes with 8 crossbow arrows and 12 martial arts points. 3. 1 high-level warrior card. Randomly summon 1 high-level warrior, loyal to death. 300 martial arts points, Maul refreshed at the beginning of the month, with a maximum of 3 items to collect, actively refresh 100 martial arts points each time, purchase Ma boiling powder and green snake crossbow machine. Successfully purchased, placed in space, remaining 517 martial arts points, purchase and use warrior cards. Successful purchase, 217 martial arts points remaining, summon successfully, instill nearby beggars and high-level martial artist Xia Ji, arrive within 15 minutes, not long after leaving the palace, a figure approached and bowed to Jin Yu. Sharon Xia Ji, pay respects to Lord Jin. Judging from its tattered clothes, it has an ordinary appearance and no outstanding features. But Jin Yu knew that martial artists were different from ordinary people, not only possessing strong combat power, but also enjoying a long lifespan. Name: Xia Ji, life. 26/126, cultivation. Advanced martial arts master, origin. Migrant, martial arts. Green snake body technique, Xiao Cheng, basic fist technique, Xiao Cheng, basic leg technique, Xiao Cheng, basic knife technique, Xiao Cheng, basic stick technique, Xiao Cheng, basic spear technique, proficient, basic arrow technique, proficient, riding technique, proficient. Jin Yu's footsteps remained unchanged as she whispered. Follow me invisibly to guard against assassins. Xia Ji's eyes flashed with a hint of brilliance, and he calmly left, disappearing into the roadside alley. Jin Yu looked sad and walked towards the Earl's mansion. Seeing the courtyard dead, the seal was pasted on the door, and the iron lock was cold. Now that he is a colonel, he is vastly different from the count and cannot stay back. The top priority is to receive official rewards and collect the bodies of those who died unjustly in the Jin family. Before that, you need to find a place to stay and tidy up briefly. A secluded alley. Jin Yu moved her mind and had a small pile of gold and silver in her hand. Convert 8 taels of gold, 20 taels of silver, remaining 216 martial arts points, take half of it and place it on the edge of the alley stone, doing a pocket toss action. Jin Yu left with his front foot, and Xia Ji appeared with his back foot, collecting gold and silver. Choose a street guest room to settle in, have a simple meal, and change into new clothes. Take the green snake crossbow machine and Ma boil powder, apply the medicine powder to the small crossbow arrow, and surprisingly, there is still half a bottle left. It should be able to be used twice. Prepare the crossbow machine. Jin Yu feels at ease. The sky is getting dark, and he has no intention of falling asleep. When everything is quiet, he gently opens the window and waves to the outside. Xia Ji silently shot and flashed into the room, bowing to Jin Yu. Your Excellency. Take me to Hujia Lane in the south of the city. The night breeze in June was slightly cool, and Xiao Cheng's green snake technique was truly extraordinary. Xia Ji carried Jin Yu on his back and ran along the cobblestone road, avoiding occasional pedestrians and heading straight to the remote Hujia Lane. Under the guidance of Jin Yu, a desolate courtyard appeared. Xia Ji led Jin Yu over the wall and carefully lowered him. Jin Yu looked around and did not notice anything unusual. He came to the dry well under the huai tree and ordered Xia Ji to find ropes and tie them to the trunk of the tree. The two of them went down to the well and lit a fire. They saw several sturdy wooden crates in the secret cellar. It was the secret treasure of Zhongqin uncle's mansion before. Open the box and reach out, silently recite to collect. Convert 1,200 taels of gold and 3,000 taels of silver, leaving 366 martial arts points. The next morning, Jin Yu went to the Ministry of Internal Affairs to receive the gold and silver rewards from the emperor. He waited at the gatehouse until the afternoon before someone let him inside. A small eunuch sat high in a chair, interrogating prisoners as usual. I said, "Are you Jin Yu? What are you doing here?" Jin Yu's eyes turned red and she said in a mournful voice. It seems that my father-in-law is unaware that my family has just passed away, with only one remaining. Therefore, he came to the imperial censorate to collect the gold and silver bestowed by the emperor, in order to arrange for the funeral of his family. If the father-in-law intends, I am willing to give away all these 100 taels of gold and silver, and only ask for the father-in-law's help to arrange for the funeral at home. Please show great mercy to my father-in-law and complete the funeral on my behalf. Jin Yu's words were almost roared out. Startled the surrounding crowd. The little eunuch was immediately scared when he saw this. He just wants to withhold some of the reward, how dare he make things worse. The eunuch jumped up and respectfully invited Jin Yu to take his seat, smiling bitterly. Oh my, Lord Jin, why are you doing this? I know your family is in trouble, so I feel sad. Your Majesty rewards gold and silver, and I dare not accept it. I will bring it to you, but you need to sign and confirm. Buy gold and silver. Jin Yu returned to the inn. Convert gold and silver, with 377 remaining martial arts points, Jin Yu rested for a moment and rushed to the 5th Army Commander's mansion. Wu Sun belongs to the ranks of military officials and is managed by the governor's office, unlike the imperial relatives and relatives under the jurisdiction of the imperial family court. This time, Jin Yu quickly met an 8th-grade governor and took him to obtain the official uniform and badge, and then the person gave orders. The position of Jin Xiaowei, who is returning to his hometown this time, is the 9th-grade inspector of the Hongdianzhai Inspection Department located in the north of Quanyang County. This is a position specially selected by the superior for you. You should know that there is no shortage of military officials in Quanyang County nowadays. So, even if we finally find a good job for you, we should know how to be grateful. Adults have high expectations for Captain Zhen. As Yuan Hao, the former inspector of Hongyan village, was killed by bandits, he was instructed to fulfill his duties as soon as possible and report to the Quanzhou County Government and the Youth League Training Office. Within 3 months, we need to investigate the cause of Yuan Hao's death and arrest those daring bandits and mountain bandits. In addition, adults have also heard that in the northern region near the border of Quanyang County in Luo Kingdom, there are often grassland bandits riding southward to plunder, and there are also reports of countless rampant salt vendors, all of which are under the jurisdiction of the Hongdianzhai Inspection Department. Adults have ordered you to go and suppress, preferably before the end of this year, to show everyone your achievements in public security. Otherwise, not to mention this inspection position, even Wu Sun should be deprived according to the law. Upon hearing this, Jin Yu's heart sank. The position of military merit has always been rare, mostly due to the accumulation of enemy heads and bloody military achievements. So according to convention, it is normal for him to go from the 8th rank military officer to the local position and arrange for the 8th rank military position. He can even serve as a 7th rank military officer, but now he only receives the inspection and dispatch from the 9th rank. That's okay. The question is, can anyone go to Hongyan village? At the border with Luogua, it's hard to say that one day the enemy will kill them. Grassland cavalry often travels south, and those barbaric tribes will not reason with you. What are the people who are rampant in border salt trafficking? He is a fugitive with his head pinned on his belt, desperately seeking wealth, and even more so, a greedy vampire local snake. As for killing the mountain bandits who were the previous inspectors. What kind of criticism can it be if even officials dare to kill? How do you look at it? The inspection of Hongyan village is not a normal task, it's clear that he wants to die. This must be the mastermind behind the scenes, those concubines in the harem, those aristocratic families, and even exerting influence on the governor's office, in order to arrange such a deadly mission. Even if he has a martial arts mall, it still takes time to accumulate and develop. In the next moment, Jin Yu received a system message. Qin State's Qianlin Road, Beichuan Prefecture, and Quanyang County's Hongyanzhai Inspection Department will reward 5 martial arts points this month for their 9th grade inspection, leaving 382 martial arts points. Task Generation Revenge for Yuan Hao and reward 1,800 martial arts points. Chapter 3. A Good In-Laws Who Make Waves. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Jin Yu left the 5th Army Commander's mansion with a heavy heart. He doesn't know what else his future holds. Faced with pressure from the high-ranking officials in the harem, he was only an 8th rank colonel and had no resistance. If he refuses to accept the appointment of the governor's office, he will give the enemy an excuse and even lose his position as a military officer. The attitude of the governor and the officials of the governor's office has already explained everything. In the eyes of others, Jin Yu is equivalent to a dead person. Once they fall into poverty, there is no doubt that they will be crushed to death. So silently, without a trace. Even less dead than a bug, unable to leave even a faint scent. So he must strive for high positions, strive to cultivate martial arts skills, gain more power, and gain greater influence. Only in this way can he make the enemy hesitate and dare not act recklessly. Perhaps at that time, he could survive by chance. On the way, Xia Ji brushed past and quickly reminded him. Your Excellency, be careful, there are martial artists tracking and monitoring. Do you want to take action and pull out eyeliner? Don't startle the snake with the grass. Jin Yu has obtained the official position badge, but his enemies behind him are afraid that he will run away. They have sent someone to track him down and wait for the martial arts master to take his life outside the city. 12 corpses from Zhongqin uncle's mansion are now parked in Zhongjing mansion. Jin Yu rushed to the government office and was stopped outside the door. Jin Yu, finally arrived. My young lady wants to see you. Jin Yu turned her head and saw a familiar face. At the age of 59, Luo Li is the steward of the Luo family. Previously, he was the shopkeeper of the Luo family shop, so Jin Yu and his wife Luo Mei went out together and saw the courteous Luo Li. However, now this steward has a proud attitude and is even more likely to bully others. After all, from an 8th rank colonel, how can one compare to a martial arts noble family? Being able to stay out of trouble and protect oneself is precisely because Luo Mei has a good background. The ancestor of the Luo family is the early warrior who has lived for 139 years, Luo Yi. Wucheng continent regards martial arts as the highest priority. Among hundreds of thousands of people, only one martial arts master can appear and be highly respected. Luo Yi is now a 3rd-rank military official, General Yun Hui, serving as the chief of the Imperial Military Academy and the chief of the Military Affairs Department. As the highest martial arts academy, the Yuwu Academy saw outstanding warriors emerge from it and become rising military officials, ultimately achieving high positions in the court. The promotion of the 3rd-rank Shenwu Si Qing not only represents the glory of military officials, but also praises the Qin royal family for Luo Yi's past tenure in the Shenwu Si. At the same time, Luo Yi was promoted to the rank of Wugong General in the 5th rank, and made many contributions to the Qin royal family. From General Wugong of the 5th rank, does it seem that his rank is not high? But from the 9th grade to the 5th grade, it is necessary to accumulate 4,180 military merit firsts. Privileged military honors, enjoying a fief of food. Each generation descends 3 levels to inherit, and when they reach the 8th grade of military honors, they can pass on to their descendants. So in the face of pressure from relatives in the harem, the Luo family has the confidence to protect themselves. It is understandable that they fished out the younger generation of Luo. As for the loyalty and diligence Uncle Mansion, with the death of the Empress Dowager of Xia, the foundation of wealth and prosperity was cut off. The wall fell and everyone pushed. Le Jia withdrew. At this moment, Jinyu followed behind Luo Li and walked towards the carriage not far away. Looking back a few months ago, he married Luo Mei, and shortly after entering the bridal chamber, Zhen Lan suddenly passed away, and then encountered a great disaster at the Zhen family. Everything seemed like a dream. As Jinyu approached, several healthy slaves from the music family stepped forward, reprimanding and blocking him. Leli sneered at the corners of his mouth and was not in a hurry to speak. In the carriage, there was a coquettish scolding to repel Jinyu. The maid appeared, got off the car, bowed to Jinyu, and exclaimed excitedly. "Maid Chu Ro, pay respects to my uncle. Madam is in the car, please get in the car and meet me." She is a maid beside Luo Mei, with a gentle temperament, and has also served Jinyu. Leli couldn't help but cough lightly and coldly reminded. "Cough, what kind of uncle? And Miss Chu, we'll call her Miss in the future." Chu Ro was taken aback, her face darkened, and she silently nodded, helping Jinyu board the car. At the age of 17, Luo Mei was the same age as Jinyu. She was talented and beautiful, with a pair of beautiful women. She stared at Jinyu foolishly, slowly stood up, and bowed to her, tears streaming down her face. "I will bid farewell to Zhuge Liang as a concubine and die without regret." Jinyu remained silent for a moment, then shook her head and sighed lightly. "I have died once and I have seen it through. In the current situation, why do you need to step forward? It is not beneficial for the Luo family to provoke criticism from others." Luo Mei bit her lips, bent her knees, and supported Jinyu. "Please sit down, Zhuge Liang. I cannot invite you to come to the mansion for deliberation. It is the elders' opposition, and I feel ashamed." Jinyu sat down. "Miss Luo, if you want to say that you're ashamed, I'm also here. Please take a seat, too. I am the wife of Zhuge Liang, how could my husband be so outspoken? Why are you here today? Do you want to continue suffering with me? When you left prison earlier, I decided not to worry anymore. Why bother yourself?" Luo Mei was taken aback, tears streaming down her face. She knelt slowly beside Jinyu, grabbed his arm, and looked up to call out. "Zhuge Liang, Zhuge Liang. It's because our family wants you and me to leave, so that I can meet you. If Zhuge Liang doesn't agree, after returning, I will cut ties with my family and follow him to Qianlin Road." Jinyu frowned and didn't know how to respond. He is a soul-piercing guest and has no feelings for Luo Mei. The pursuit of martial artists makes it difficult to protect oneself. At first, Luo Mei entangled him in search of life and death, but the elders of the Luo family insisted on getting married, which led to this marriage. Zhen Lan passed away, the Zhen family suffered, and they wanted to withdraw from Li as soon as possible. What a good in-laws who are at the mercy of the wind. Can't we wait for an extra 2 days? Such impatience is unbearable. Task generation harmony with Luo Mei, reward 100 martial arts points. Jinyu is speechless, the system is really weird, can this still be a task? Anyway, 1,000 taels of gold, don't waste it. Luo Mei saw Jinyu silent, her eyelids slightly drooping, and she gently shook her husband's arm, pleading softly. The gentleman is willing to agree, and the Luo family can help handle the funeral. If there are any other requests, they can also be made. It's amazing that marriage and matchmaking are based on matching families. Luo Mei sacrificed her personal emotions for the sake of her family, considered the overall situation, and once again distanced herself from the relationship. Upon hearing these words, Jinyu's heart was as cold as ice, and she withdrew her arm from her embrace. "Miss, there's no need to make things difficult. I have made up my mind and am willing to leave. I would like to ask for your help with the funeral at home. Also, as we are on a long journey, we are in financial difficulties. If you could offer us gold and silver as travel expenses, I would greatly appreciate it. He has always been rational, able to move in and out, face is nothing, life is the most important. Zhenyu will not miss any opportunity to increase martial arts points and enhance her strength. No matter how small the mosquito legs are, they are still meat. Lo Mei was shocked at the words. Zhenyu, after going through a disaster, surprisingly matured a lot. In the past, as long as he begged quietly, he would mostly soften his heart, but it was unlikely that he would ask for travel expenses. It seems that he is considering for the future. He is so silly and lovely. How could those people easily give up? Lo Mei turned her head, and a faint smile suddenly flashed at the corner of her mouth. She stood up and sat back. In the next moment, she seemed to feel a sense of desolation in her heart, and her tone became sorrowful. Zhuge Liang's resurrection from death is truly a fortunate thing. I had already given up, but now that I see Zhuge Liang again, I can't help but feel my heart racing. I remember a few months ago, I fell in love with Zhuge Liang at first sight and begged my elders to come forward and marry him. Now, I have to separate from Zhuge Liang, and I can't let go of it. I only hope that in the future, Zhuge Liang will be happy and safe, and in his leisure time, he will still remember his concubine. Zhuge Liang, I never regret being with you. Now, please hold me for the last time. Zhenyu felt even more helpless, even feeling disgusted in her heart. Is this planning to have another deep affection and leave a beautiful and touching memory before breaking up? Anyway, don't take advantage of the cheap. Although Lo Mei, who has been practicing martial arts since childhood, is still a martial artist with average talent, her face and figure are really charming. Unfortunately, on the carriage, the movements cannot be too great. Next moment. Zhenyu was moved, her face excited, and she called out with deep affection. Mayor, you have always been well behaved and sensible. It is Zhenyu who is incompetent and cannot resist you. I will keep you hidden in my heart for the rest of my life, hoping to be with you again in the next life. He reached out and gently pulled, and Lo Mei whimpered, taking the opportunity to enter his arms. For a long time. Breathing heavily, Lo Mei struggled to break free from Zhenyu's embrace and couldn't help but cry lightly. Take care of yourself, Zhuge Liang. I beg my family to come forward and handle the funeral. I will also bring gold and silver. She took out the documents from the small box, turned her head to cover her face, and sobbed as she handed them to Zhenyu. Zhenyu read it, signed it, sighed, and stood up. So, miss, please take it very seriously. I bid you farewell. He got off the carriage and headed towards the government office. The horse's hooves clattered, the wheels gurgled, gradually drifting away. Only the maid Chu Ro, reluctant to look back, looked at Zhenyu's blurry back, tears streaming down her cheeks. Lu Jia keeps his word and takes care of the funeral. It is indeed easy to handle affairs with many people. Zhenyu has no intention of making a big fuss, the Luo family just wants to go through the motions. Half a day, it's done. In. Zhenyu transformed into a gift of travel expenses from Lu Jia. Collect 200 taels of gold, leaving 402 martial arts points. There is a system prompt again. Task completed, reward 100 martial arts points, remaining 502 martial arts points, complete the task for the first time and receive 3 chances for a lucky draw opportunities. Zhenyu's eyes lit up slightly. Chapter 4. Countless women fall for you. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhenyu's thoughts are moving. Lottery. Congratulations on winning the Tian Luo silk armor. Congratulations on winning 500 martial arts points. Congratulations on winning 130% discount card. The Tian Luo silk armor looks unremarkable, seemingly an ordinary gray-black vest, but it is very sturdy and flexible. Zhenyu tried with a sharp kitchen knife, using all her strength to eat milk, tearing, poking, grinding, chopping, soaking in water and burning, using all kinds of methods, but could not destroy a single trace, even leaving no trace. Wearing it close to your body makes you feel safer in this dangerous world. Perhaps in the future, unless it is her crush who actively tempts her, Zhenyu will never take off her vest. A 30% discount card. Enjoy a discounted purchase discount once. The original selling price was 21 yuan, but it was discounted to 68 yuan. The price of the visible dog system is really not ordinary black. Now on the 6th day of June, it's still early for next month, so it's time to refresh directly. Successfully refreshed, remaining 902 martial arts points, 1 yuan qi pill. Tonify the vitality, accelerate cultivation and progress, suitable for ordinary people and martial apprentices to use. 3 martial arts points, 2. 100 forged dagger. 2 martial arts points, 3. 1 low-level warrior card. Randomly summon 1 low-level warrior. 100 martial arts points, successful purchase, remaining 797 martial arts points, summon successfully, instill nearby refugees, low-level warrior Zhao Lily, arrive within 20 minutes, successfully refreshed, 697 martial arts points remaining, 1 bone and muscle pill. Strong bones and muscles, suitable for use by martial artists. 6 martial arts points, 2. Secret script of Hunyuan Pile. A basic health pile method that can be practiced for a long time, improve physical fitness, and gradually enhance martial arts qualifications. 60 martial arts points 3. 1 peak warrior card. Randomly summon 1 peak warrior. 50 martial arts points. Zhenyu thought for a moment. Collect the bone strengthening pill and mixed yuan steak, and purchase the peak warrior card. Purchase successful, remaining 647 martial arts points, summon successfully, instill nearby women, peak martial artist Qian Huixin, arrive within 3 minutes. Zhenyu was somewhat surprised and summoned female warriors twice in a row. Unfortunately, their realm was not high, and they were afraid that they could not resist the martial arts masters who had mastered the ultimate martial arts skills. At most, restrain 1 or 2. Zhenyu hesitated for a moment before making up her mind. If you want a warrior to survive, you must continue to summon them. Successfully refreshed, with 547 martial arts points remaining, 2 packs of golden wound medicine. 2 martial arts points 2. A handle of precision steel knife. 1 martial arts point 3. 1 time migration character card. Randomly summon characters to fully instill time migration abilities. 1850 martial arts points. Zhenyu's heart trembled. 1850 martial arts points. Is Shi Qian a master of martial arts? Shi Qian is a peak warrior. Zhenyu was taken aback and then became angry. Peak warrior. This asking price is too dark. Peak warrior 500 martial arts points. Those with special abilities will receive a markup, special skills. There are so many tricks to cheat money. Zhenyu roused in her heart that she was going to use the discount card to buy Shi Qian. After all, they are the pinnacle warriors who master 1 ultimate martial arts skill. Although they cannot defeat the early warriors who master 2 ultimate martial arts skills, they can at least resist them head-on. Show people hope for survival. However, after the discount of the time migration card, it requires 555 martial arts points. Zhenyu pondered how to make money. Suddenly, a woman's voice sounded outside the door. Miss Qian Huixin, please meet Mr. Zhen. Enter. The door was pushed open and Qian Huixin walked in. Zhenyu was immediately satisfied when she saw her beautiful appearance, petite figure, and light steps. Although he is just a martial artist, his appearance is much stronger than Xia Jiqiang's. Name: Qian Huixin, life. 1989, cultivation. Peak martial arts apprentice, origin. People of Qian Kingdom, martial arts. Basic leg techniques, Xiao Cheng, basic fist techniques, proficient, basic palm techniques, proficient, basic knife techniques, proficient, cavalry, proficient, loyalty of system units to the death. Qian Huixin followed and served beside her, and Jin Yu felt at ease. The female warrior saw Jin Yujun's beautiful appearance and felt restless. Seeing him scrutinizing her, she couldn't help but nervously bow her head and didn't dare to look at him anymore. Are you from Zhongjing? Sir, my daughter comes from Taidong Road. Her parents passed away early and she learned acrobatics. She joined a local opera troupe in Beijing and made a living performing in a tavern. She is not from Zhongjing. So, can you leave the theater troupe at any time? Have you ever married someone? Sir, the little girl has never been married and is a free agent. Zhen Yu nodded. Do you have gold and silver in your hands? He has thick skin and plans to directly ask his female subordinates for money in order to summon Shi Qian to save his life. The income of the theater troupe is usually collected by the class leader. The little girl is frugal and saves 1 or 2 or 3 coins of silver, as well as some copper and iron coins. Zhen Yu was greatly disappointed. Too few. As he spoke, he suddenly waved. Come here, I have some gold and silver here. Please keep them safe and become my maid in the future. Qian Huixin approached Zhen Yu with a red face and took the gold and silver. Zhen Yu couldn't help but feel a surge in her heart as she took out her money bag and put it away. He reached out to touch Qian Huixin's hand and saw that she had not resisted, so he grabbed it tightly. You're so soft. I like it. Ah. Sir, the little girl comes from a humble background and is lucky enough not to lose her life, but she is afraid of being defiled. Zhen Yu kissed her and blocked her later words. After a moment, he exerted force on his arms and held Qian Huixin in his lap. What's the point? You don't know that I'm in danger and being targeted, so I need you to cooperate and obey. Just treat me as a promiscuous and shameless playboy, coveting you as a theatrical troupe woman. This is perfect for deceiving the enemy. Now I want you to always follow me, always be in my arms, hide your cultivation, and protect my safety. Qian Huixin was extremely shy, breathing quickly, and feeling weak all over. A heart is pounding and jumping out of the chest. She stared blankly at Zhen Yu, her eyes shining brightly. I have long heard that the grace of the adults is unparalleled, and countless women have fallen in love with you. Now, guided by heaven, I have made a breakthrough in my cultivation and become a peak martial arts disciple, just to follow the adults. Even if adults are like immortals in the sky, can they not despise me? If adults are gentle for a moment, I will sacrifice my life and protect you well. I am willing to go through fire and water for you, even if I die. Zhen Yu nodded and smiled. I don't want you to go through fire and water, as long as you obediently hold me in my arms, show your true feelings, make others think I'm dying, but still crave beauty, make them underestimate me, and no longer be vigilant. You go out with me and perform for those people to see. The most important thing is, you can also help figure out where to get gold and silver. After speaking, Zhen Yu took Qian Huixin out of the house. No matter how tender her face is, she just holds it in her arms, casually frivolous. There were people on the street giving directions from behind, causing Qian Huixin to bow her head and remain silent. Another moment passed. One person approaches. I, Zhao Lily, have met Lord Zhen. Name: Zhao Lily, life. 22/108, cultivation. Low-level warrior, origin. Migrant, martial arts. Basic palm technique, xiaocheng, basic leg technique, xiaocheng, basic swordsmanship, proficient, basic arrow technique, proficient, cavalry, proficient. Zhen Yu glanced at her ordinary appearance, dressed in tattered clothes. Silence. In the next moment, Zhen Yu placed her hand behind Qian Huixin and quickly made small movements. It's a secret gesture he made with Xia Ji. This gesture represents one's own person. You low-key contact with them, explain the situation, hide together, and guard against the assassin for me. Quickly, a figure quietly appeared, cleverly approaching, and it was Xia Ji. Zhen Yu's eyebrows twitched, her lustful eyes never concealed, and she kissed Qian Huixin with a smack. He looked at Zhao Lili and instructed with a smile. Exioner, reward this beggar with 2 large coins. Not everyone will accept her, she is only worthy to be with the people below. Qian Huixin took out 2 copper coins and handed them to Zhao Lili. Zhen Yu felt impatient and waved away. Let's go, get out of the way. As he spoke, he squeezed his buttocks hard. With a low cry, Qian Huixin blushed and her head was hidden in Zhen Yu's embrace, whispering. Sir, the little girl thinks of a place where she might get gold and silver. Zhen Yu squinted her eyes, hugged her tighter, and leaned closer to her lips to kiss her. Good girl, hurry up and tell me. Chapter 5. Let's have a mixed story. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhen Yu listened to Qian Huixin's suggestions. The class leader often gambles and owes a lot of gambling debts. When I saw him being beaten up by debt collectors, I complained that he would smash the casino in the north of the city sooner or later and snatch all the women and silver from the sales cave. The little girl thinks that there should be a lot of gold and silver in the casino in the north of the city, as well as in the sales cave. Zhen Yu was speechless for a moment. That's right, there is indeed gold and silver in the place you're talking about. But the problem is, it's not easy to rob casino brothels. In fact, you have not been deeply involved in the world, and you are not sure that they all have the support of their power. We are too busy to deal with ourselves. It is better not to provoke them. Task release, strike down the underground casino in Beixiang, rescue the kidnapped and imprisoned woman. Reward 400 martial arts points. Zhen Yu was stunned. Is this okay too? I was surprised and let out a soft sigh. Guaixiner, what you said makes sense. Let's go to the casino together and take you to see the sales cave there. Are you saying it's good or not? Wherever the adults go, the little girl will go. Exioner is so good, let me kiss her. Ah, my lord. The secluded alleys under the North City wall are rarely visited during the day. However, every night, it is a gathering place for officials and wealthy businessmen in Kyoto. The famous wealthy merchant Su, the shopkeeper in Zhongjing City, is rumored to be a disciple of the powerful martial lord. He runs casinos, opens brothels, lends money to pursue debts, earns money every day, and is wealthy enough to rival his country. I don't know how many unemployed vagrants I feed. I like to call myself the Savior Buddha. People give it the nickname, Poisonous Fat Spider. Zhen Yu converted 20 taels of gold and took Qian Huixin to the casino to have fun. In the alley, the lights are brightly lit, wealth gather, and there are even pink sleeves and red clothes, with waves smiling and attracting butterflies. Zhen Yupian, young master, has attracted the attention of countless beautiful women, who only wish they could not replace the obedient exioner in his arms. Qian Huixin held Zhen Yu even tighter, and she finally understood what a sales cave was. It turned out to be a place with a lot of women and gold and silver. Xia Ji and Zhao Lili have already received orders from Zhen Yu. No matter what means you use, destroy the North Lane Casino for me. So the flames burned, reflecting the red night sky. The young masters and wealthy merchants who come and go to the nightclub are inevitably panicked. The flames and waves of heat from the neighboring area plunged the casino into chaos. Zhen Yu and Qian Huixin hide in a corner. Xia Ji was by the side, whispering. Follow the eyeliner of the Lord's rotation. The low-level warrior was stunned by my surprise attack and thrown into the chaotic crowd. When he woke up, even if he knew that it was wrong, he would think that the warrior robbed while the Lord was in chaos, and would not suspect him. The villain obtained some tung oil, and the big cart was pulled into the next door, so the fire was ultimately not easy to extinguish. Even if this gambling house doesn't burn down, don't think about continuing to open it in the near future. Xia Ji said, handing over a bulging money bag and several money tickets. The villain took advantage of the chaos and robbed several wealthy merchants, knocked them unconscious together, and found some money. Various central roads in the state of Qin, such as Qinzhong Road and Dongping Road, were stable and prosperous, and some ticket shops emerged one after another. Branches were set up on each road to collect silver coins. However, when it comes to desolate border roads like Qianlin Road, due to rampant banditry, ticket numbers rarely appear. Whether it's for transporting goods or escorting goods, they require long-distance escorts from warriors. Zhenyu nodded, took the money bag, and transformed it into gold and silver. Collecting 58 taels of gold, 20 taels of silver, leaving 551 martial arts points, hand the scattered gold and silver to Qian Huixin and speak to Xia Zhidao. Take the money ticket and exchange it. Where's Zhao Lily? Yes, sir. Zhao Lily has found the detained women. They are in the underground secret room, and now there is a big fire. They will soon be transferred by the thieves. Zhao Lily is watching over there. You go pick up the situation, make things bigger, and let people see the kidnapped woman. I took the opportunity to leave the city and meet at the Li family fork in the north of the city, Wang Ji's warehouse. Little people obey, adults must be careful. In the chaotic casino, Zhenyu and Qian Huixin left hand in hand, accompanied by distant noises. The task prompt appears. Task completed, reward 400 martial arts points, remaining 951 martial arts points. Zhenyu's heart was filled with joy. It seemed that Xia Zhi and his team had successfully dug a big basket and rescued the kidnapped woman. It's not difficult to understand, human traffickers are everywhere shouting and beating. The rampaging evil spirits, unable to see the scorching sun in the sky, are most afraid of being open and upright. Use discount cards to purchase time migration cards. Successful purchase, remaining 396 martial arts points, summoned successfully, instilled nearby refugees, peak martial artist time shifted, arrived within 1 minute, Zhenyu checks character information. Name. Shi Qian, life. 21/135, cultivation. Peak martial arts master, origin. Migrant, martial arts. Soaring eaves and walking on walls, body method, special, gathering qi technique, xiaocheng, disordered bones and changing face technique, xiaocheng, basic fist technique, xiaocheng, basic leg technique, xiaocheng, basic knife technique, xiaocheng, basic palm technique, proficient, basic stick technique, proficient, basic arrow technique, proficient, soon. A thin and small figure appeared silently, as if withered leaves were falling, bowing down in front of Zhenyu. Xiao Shiqian, pay respects to your excellency. Qian Huixin was startled and quickly blocked in front, but was pulled back into her arms by Zhenyu. My own people. Zhenyu scrutinized the time shift. You don't need to be polite. It seems that you are small in stature and can fly from eaves to walls, which is unusual. I wonder if you can teach others the technique of gathering qi. Adults need it, and Shi Qian is willing to teach it. However, flying eaves and walls requires talent, which others cannot master. Well, let's go to the warehouse together. I was about to ask you to perform the technique of bone disorder and facial contouring. Let's have a fish eyes mixed with pearls and help me escape the shell of a golden cicada. 3 figures rushed towards the north of the city. Xia Zhi and Zhao Lily rushed over and met with Zhenyu. Sir, I have brought you all the delicate robes of your official robe. I have also been wandering and observing along the way, and no one has been following you. Zhenyu looked toward Shi Qian. Time migration. Sir, no abnormalities were detected. Zhenyu's heart relaxed slightly. From his arrival in Wuqing continent, he finally gained a moment of relaxation. Zhao Lily walked forward with a wooden box in her hand. Sir, all the money has been exchanged for gold and silver. Here are 110 taels of gold and 350 taels of silver. Zhenyu gestured for her to put down the small box and collect the gold and silver inside. 409 martial arts points remaining, give 50 taels of silver to Qian Huixin. Successfully refreshed, 309 martial arts points remaining, 1 Wu Zhong Dan. Enhance the talent and cultivation of martial artists, and remain loyal to death. 800 martial arts points, 2 1 handle of refined steel sword. 1 martial arts point, 3 1 high-level warrior card. Randomly summon 1 high-level warrior. 300 martial arts points, Zhenyu was surprised and swallowed saliva. 800 martial arts points of the Wuzhong pill. It's indeed a good thing, but unfortunately I can't afford it. Collect first. I bought a precision steel knife before, and Zhen Yudong read it. Buy the bone and muscle pill, golden wound medicine, refined steel sword, and advanced martial arts card together. Purchase successful, 0 martial arts points remaining, summon successfully, instill nearby refugees, high-level warrior Sun Jiejia, arrive within 30 minutes, all the martial arts points were spent, and Zhenyu made all the efforts. If he still cannot escape the pursuit of martial artist Xian Hu, he can only say that his fate should be like this. Not long after, a graceful figure appeared in the night and rushed from a distance. My humble concubine Sun Jiejia, I have met Lord Zhen. Chapter 6 100 Forged Daggers, 1 Strike and Beheading. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Name: Sun Jiejia, Life. 26/127, Cultivation. Advanced Martial Arts Master, Origin. Migrant, Martial Arts. Basic Palm Technique, Xiaocheng, Basic Leg Technique, Xiaocheng, Basic Swordsmanship, Xiaocheng, Basic Stick Technique, Xiaocheng, Basic Arrow Technique, Xiaocheng, Basic Fist Technique, Proficient, Basic Knife Technique, Proficient, Cavalry, Proficient. Zhenyu saw that her appearance was decent, with a front and back curve and a seductive figure, and asked. Are you a refugee? Do you have family? Lord Hui, due to her husband's illness and passing away, our family has become refugees. Now, there is only one concubine left, and we hope that Lord can take her in. Zhenyu nodded. You follow Shi Qian and work together to block the enemy for me. He took out a refined steel sword from the shopping mall space and handed it to Xia Ji and Sun Jiejia respectively. You are all high-level warriors. This time, we will assist Shi Qian and work together to fight against the martial arts masters. Remember to prioritize self-protection. The two of them took orders and took over the weapon. Zhenyu too smiled again. From now on, you serve me and don't have to look out for each other. You should support each other. After all, you are of the same age and have similar cultivation levels. Next, I plan to have Xia Ji dress up as me to attract enemies. Sun Jiejia, you are Xia Ji's wife, so that the enemy won't doubt you. Xia Ji is the first warrior to follow me, so he is different from others. After settling down, I will arrange a wedding for both of you. Xia Ji was taken aback, feeling happy in her heart. Thank you very much, sir. Sun Jiejia lowered her head and whispered for a moment. I humbly obey your orders. The couple looked at each other and silently stepped aside. Zhenyu called Shi Qian up to him and gave him careful instructions. And pass on the technique of gathering qi to everyone, and then change our appearance. The night passed in a blink of an eye. On the morning of the 7th day of the lunar calendar, it feels slightly stuffy and hot. Upon returning from the investigation, Shi Qian explained the situation to Zhenyu. Sir, the roads to the north of Jiangyi are now completely blocked, and most of the soldiers and horses of the Western City Army and Horse Division have been mobilized. They have teamed up with the Northern City Division to set up roadblocks and strictly inspect passing merchants. If you take a detour, it will be difficult for you to reach Quanyang County by early next month. Zhenyu's eyebrows furrowed. The situation is stronger than people. The power is controlled by petty people, using public tools for personal use, and such a battle is being waged against him as an 8th-rank colonel. Even if one is lucky enough to pass through the blockade, what is the next path to take? Xia Zhidao, who underwent cosmetic surgery and underwent significant changes in appearance. It's also time for the villains to come forward and disguise themselves as adults, heading north to mislead them into pursuing. The adults happen to find an opportunity to escape. At this moment, Xia Zhi's aura was ordinary and he couldn't tell that he had martial arts skills. The technique of restraining qi is not difficult for high-level martial artists to master. Xia Zhi, who was instilled through the system, has a solid foundation in martial arts, and mastering the technique of regulating qi is a natural outcome. Sun Jiejia is no exception. However, Zhao Lili did not learn. On the contrary, Qian Huixin, who had lower cultivation, had already mastered it. It can be seen that there are some differences in martial arts endowments between summoning units. Shi Qian, you go with Xia Zhi and Sun Jiejia, be careful when dealing with the pursuit of Xin Hu. Once the blockade is lifted, I will head north. After finishing the task, I will go to the Fa temple in Baihu mountain town, which everyone has agreed on. We will meet 3 miles north in a mountain valley. 3 people were ordered to board the car and leave the warehouse. Previously, Qian Huixin took out gold and silver and bought a carriage. Shi Qian disguised himself as a coachman and drove the carriage forward, while Xia Zhi and the other 2 sat in the carriage. As the red sun rises, the carriage and horse move forward, passing through the official road, and soon arrive at a checkpoint. Xia Zhi asked Shi Qian to present the official badge of Xinyu. The soldiers were moved and reported immediately. Before the level, a military officer approached and looked at Xinyu inside the car, his eyes flashing with coldness, and his mind spinning. The man in the car should be the person instructed to investigate and pay attention to. Thinking about Xinyu, but being a promiscuous child is not worth such a battle. Ordering the capture and killing directly wouldn't be convenient. But the concerns of the adults above are not unreasonable. After all, this person was ordered to go north. If he were to take action in public, what would be the face of the Supreme Emperor in the palace? The military officer questioned and delayed the time, but Xinyu spoke vaguely and concealed. After a while, the sergeant released. The carriage continued to move forward. Travel to a secluded mountain road. Da-da-da. A sudden sound of horses' hooves, accompanied by the crackling sound of horses' whips, was heard by Shi Qian 3 people. Seeing 3 black riders, wielding whips, galloping towards them. With a roar of hooves, the 3 riders quickly overtook the carriage and turned to intercept, blocking the way. Be the first to drink angrily. Xinyu, petty thief. Damn it, you bastard who dares to live recklessly. This has caused my official to be scolded by the higher authorities. Today, I will personally kill you, take your head, relieve my frustration, and be my stepping stone. Choke. Xin whose steel knife was in his hand, full of killing intent, pointing towards the carriage. Shameless child, get off and suffer death. I'll give you a good time. Shi Qian screamed loudly in his mouth, causing his body to shrink and hide under the carriage, causing the 3 riders blocking the way to burst into laughter. However, there was no movement in the carriage. Xin who frowned and suddenly spoke up. Golden camera, Kim Jong-il, come closer and take a look. Don't let the thief Xinyu escape, pull out the coachman and kill him first. The meaning of Xin who is very clear, it is to leave no survivors. The 35-year-old mid-level warrior Jin Kama and the 44-year-old low-level warrior Jin Jingyi are both fellow warriors trained by the Jin family, and are loyal and obedient military officials under the jurisdiction of the Bo Mansion. They were sent by the Jin family to hunt down Xinyu together this time. Upon hearing Xin whose command, the golden camera snorted coldly but did not move forward. He is a member of the Jin family and also has a military official status. Why should he obey commands from a different surname? Kim Jong-il, who was older and had exhausted his potential, did not have such confidence and approached on horseback with a knife. He jumped off his horse and moved towards the bottom of the car. Hey, crawl out on your own and answer the question honestly. As long as you're not an accomplice, I won't harm your life. The young one is the coachman, please spare my life, please spare my life. Shi Qian was trembling and timid, slowly climbing out from under the carriage. Next moment, Kim Jong-il's eyes flashed with a murderous intent as he clenched the handle of the knife, ready to strike. The figure under the car flickered, and in the thin and small hands of Shi Qian, an extra dagger appeared at some point. That's exactly the 100-forged treasure blade bestowed by Jinyu. Just hear a soft hissing sound. Shi Qian's body charged forward from the bottom of the car, leaping and waving its blade, like a soaring falcon, floating lightly in the air from below. Kim Jong-il's head was cut off by a dagger in his hand, flying backwards and splattering with bloodstains all the way. Roll over to Xianhu and the two of them. The Deshang body method of time migration is different from ordinary people. He was born with exceptional agility, deliberately striking without any intention. With his sharp 100-forged dagger, he beheaded Kim Jong-il in one fell swoop. Xianhu and the others were stunned for a moment. This is completely unexpected. The next golden camera was furious, drew its sword, jumped down, and rushed towards Shi Qian. Shameless thief, disguised as a coachman, harming my fellow race. Xianhu's pupils contracted and he thought to himself that something was wrong. Be careful, this person is a peak martial artist who masters the Deshang body method. You cannot deal with him. Shi Qian chuckled lightly, and his body turned flexibly in mid-air, easily changing direction, making the golden camera pounce in the air. However, later on, Xianhu had already flown and killed him. Seeing him waving his palm like the wind, driving waves of dust and striking towards the time. That is Deshang palm technique. The martial artist is truly powerful and can be released externally. When Deshang's martial arts skills are unleashed, they are enough to strike Zhang Shufang. Therefore, the Xian tiger palm skill cannot be directly resisted by Shi Qian. But in the next moment, a man and a woman jumped out of the carriage, each holding a sword. Xia Ji shouted. Damn it, martial artist! How shameless of you to bully others with more. Chapter 7. Encirclement of Martial Masters. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xia Ji and Sun Jiejia, straight for the golden camera. It can be said that mid-level martial artists also master minor martial arts skills, and should have the strength to fight against high-level martial artists. But at this moment, the golden camera showed an invincible state in the face of two strong hands who could independently suppress him. He swung his steel knife and struggled to hold on to the steel knife that Xia Ji had chopped down. His body trembled, and his tiger's mouth had already cracked. Upon seeing Sun Jiejia's sharp sword thrust rapidly, the golden camera reluctantly turned around to dodge. However, Xia Ji's footsteps turned and he punched with a backhand, smashing the golden camera on the shoulder and back. Xia Ji Xiaocheng's body technique of the green snake can be described as flexible and versatile. Cooperate with Xiaocheng fist technique, so quickly achieve success. Another hiss. The golden camera of the Lazial dagger, glutinous rice rolls with sweet bean flour, was scratched by Sun Jiejia's sharp blade on the left arm sleeve, and there was an extra blood stain. He was shocked and angry, flipped over and retreated, quickly pleading for help. Lord Xian, save me. The golden camera has been forgotten. A moment ago, he ignored the scene of Xianhu's command. Relying on the influence of the Jin family, Xianhu wants to rescue the Jin camera. Unfortunately, Shi Qian flew faster and faster, wielding a sharp dagger that relentlessly entangled Xianhu. The person lightly tapped the ground with their toes, their thin and small body turning in the air, dancing like a butterfly without any pattern to follow, making Xianhu dare not take it lightly. The power of Desheng palm technique is indeed strong, but his body method is only that of Xiaocheng's Xin Hu. To catch up with the time shift of his innate talent and master Desheng's body method is nothing but a pipe dream. In this situation, time migration moves forward and backward freely. Moreover, the body of Kim Jong-il was not cold, and the sharpness of the 100-forged dagger made Xin Hu feel wary. If he dares to neglect, he will most likely be injured by Shi Qian's dagger. A great martial artist who was injured in the hands of a warrior, and when it comes to rumors, he is inevitably laughed at by others. At the moment of their entanglement, I heard the golden camera scream incessantly. Shua. That person was stabbed in the buttocks by Xia Zhi's steel knife, fell forward, and was also cut off in the right arm by Sun Jiejia's sword. In the next moment, the scream came to an abrupt end. Xia Zhi held a refined steel knife in his hand, which pierced through the neck of the golden camera and stained the tip of the knife with blood, penetrating through his throat. Xin Hu roared in anger, his palms roared, and seeing flying sand and rocks, he forced Shi Qian to retreat. Stay here, are you still under the command of Jin Yu? When did the Jin family win over the three of you? It depends on your young age, and if your cultivation continues to improve, your lifespan should be extended. Unfortunately, the Jin family is in decline. Why don't the three of you switch to the Earl of Jin's family, with silver rewards and even high positions and rich salaries? Even there are no shortage of martial arts secrets suitable for the three to advance. Wucheng Continent, secret scripts are precious. If martial artists want to advance, they cannot only master one or two martial arts, but also need to draw on the strengths of others and constantly break through the bottleneck of martial arts. Therefore, the martial arts secrets that are suitable for themselves are crucial. Shi Qian chuckled. Sun Jiejia sneered silently. Xia Zhi let out a yelp and swung his sword in a feigned manner to cut it out. He was greeted with a thunderous and powerful palm like a tiger. Unfortunately, Xia Zhi has more self-awareness. He knew that he, who only mastered Xiaocheng's martial arts skills, was not an opponent of the martial arts master, so he would not fight against the enemy, take advantage of the situation, and retreat to avoid Desheng's palm technique. Xin Hu wanted to pursue, but behind him, Shi Qian swung a dagger and stabbed him, making him a deterrent and unable to target Xia Zhi. Seeing three warriors, one moves in and the other retreats, taking turns to fight and hold off with Xin Hu. Even though Xin Hu is a martial artist, he only masters the Xiaocheng leg technique. Therefore, when it comes to the agility of his body method alone, Xin Hu is far inferior to Shi Qian, and even inferior to Xia Zhi who masters the green snake body method. Faced with the joint attack of three warriors, Xin Hu felt a bit disheveled with his left and right branches. Seeing that the momentum was not good, Xin Hu let out a loud shout and shouted several palms, forcing three warriors to retreat before turning around and wanting to retreat. When time changes, the heart becomes anxious. Although he can catch up with Xin Hu, he cannot beat him. Once this person leaves, the Jin family, who has exposed everyone's whereabouts and obtained accurate information, and even other enemies of the Jin family, will quickly dispatch more and stronger martial arts experts. At that time, if one warrior cannot succeed, what about two or three? Jin Yu is inevitably in a more dangerous situation. On the side, Sun Jiejia struck with an iron sword and chased after Xin Hu with all his might. Stop running. But when Xin Hu sneered, he stopped and turned around. His palms had already been raised in front of him, and he suddenly pushed forward. Boom! A loud noise drove countless sand and stones to press down on Sun Jiejia. Eat my mountain palm. At the same time, Xin Hu angrily shouted and fully exerted his ultimate palm technique. This strike, not to mention high-level warriors, is even the peak warrior Shi Qian, who dare not directly criticize its edge. However, Xin Hu lured the enemy, and Sun Jiejia pursued him with all his might, but was unable to dodge. Time flies and color changes, shouting, "Be careful." Xia Zhi's eyes were not right, and he let out a tiger roar. With a steel knife in his hand, he vigorously threw it at Xianhu and threw himself sideways, hugging Sun Jiejia and protecting her. In the future, he had a hard back to block Xianhu and achieved great palm skills. After all, Xia Zhi masters the Xiaocheng body method. He is one step ahead of Xianhu in his single-leg technique. Although Xia Zhi cannot match De Cheng's martial arts skills, it is not difficult to protect his wife with the green snake body technique in a critical moment. Pop! Xianhu's palm hit Xia Zhi's back. Xia Zhi screamed in pain, spewing blood from his mouth, and he held on to Sun Jiejia, falling and flying 10 feet away. Watching Xia Zhi suffer such a heavy blow, even Sun Jiejia, who was desperately protected by him in his arms, was bleeding from the corners of her mouth. She wanted to struggle up for a moment, but couldn't do it. This time, the situation has reversed. Xianhu, who was besieged by 3 people and fell into a predicament, injured 2 people in one fell swoop with his Desheng palm technique. The remaining one, Shi Qian, was easy to deal with. However, changes in the situation often come as unexpected. The sound of thumping and swishing was incessant in my ears. Xianhu turned around and saw several cold flashes, shooting at him fiercely, and couldn't help but be shocked and pale. Just now. When Shi Qian saw Sun Jiejia fall into a trap, Xianhu exerted all his strength and was not polite. He directly used the assassin's mace handed to him by Zhenyu. Green snake crossbow machine. 8 consecutive shots were made, resulting in 8 flashing cold crossbows and arrows, almost indiscriminately shooting towards Xianhu. Deputy Commander Xian, in shock, turned around and dodged with all his might. Unfortunately, his body movements were far inferior to those of Shi Qian, and he could not completely avoid the blow that Shi Qian was determined to win. Take a few clicks. 3 crossbows and arrows were shot at Xianhu's left arm, right shoulder, and right leg. Although he did not hit the crucial point, the early-stage warrior who was injured in the leg lost the possibility of winning in the face of the time shift when his body skills were greatly improved. Even being passively beaten. Sun Jiejia struggled up, dragged Xia Zhi to death, and dodged to the side. Shi Qian flew like an electric current, picking up a steel knife from the ground. He saw him wielding both blades together, the blades swirling and dancing, running around Xianhu with a swift slash, preventing him from breathing. Another moment passed. Xianhu felt his wound tingle and was shocked, cursing loudly. Despicable. Shameless. Despicable. Using poison on arrows. Shi Qian didn't answer the conversation, wielding 2 sharp blades and slashing them like a gust of wind. Ah! Xianhu screamed in agony, his left leg cut by Shi Qian, bleeding profusely. He, who had been invaded by Ma boiling powder, became increasingly sluggish in his movements. Physical weakness, greatly reduced combat power, unable to engage in normal battles. However, the sudden sharp pain in his left leg stimulated Xianhu's potential as a powerful warrior. That person was like a crazy tiger, chasing after Shi Qian and constantly taking action. The wind howled and the stones shattered, but unfortunately, they were all avoided by Shi Qian. Xianhu suddenly felt his eyes turn black and his body was no longer under control, stumbling forward and falling. The figure of Shi Qian passed by lightly, and with a flick of a 100-forged dagger, with a faint hissing sound, one arm flew up. Xianhu's left arm was unexpectedly cut off by Shi Qian, causing the warrior to scream and fall and struggle while holding the broken arm. Time flies by once again, the steel knife extends and raises, with a series of swish sounds. Xianhu's right arm and left leg are both broken. Now, that person has no chance of escaping. The efficacy of Ma boiling powder is fully activated. Xianhu's remaining body trembled, making it difficult to move. Chapter 8. This girl is bound by you, the little pervert. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing Xian Hu lose his resistance, Shi Qian suddenly stopped, stretched out his foot, and the fine steel sword that had originally fallen on the ground flew high, piercing into the ground in front of Sun Jiejia with a snap. Listen to him shout. Sun Nyangzi, it's your turn to take action, settle this person, and vent your anger on your husband. Sun Jiejia saw Xia Ji in a coma and couldn't help but feel even more heartbroken when she thought of the scene where he risked his life to save her just now. She bit her silver teeth, stood up, drew her sword, and charged forward, drinking fiercely in her mouth. Dare to harm my husband, the thief will take his life. With a flash of cold light, Xian Hu's head flew up at this moment. Jin Yu and the others had already arrived in the secluded mountain valley. At the same time as Xian Hu was appointed, Jin Yu received a message. Task completed, reward 800 martial arts points, remaining 800 martial arts points, kill the early warrior Xian Hu and complete the task for the first time. An additional reward of 2 lucky draws will be given. Upon receiving the prompt, Jin Yu was immediately overjoyed. 2 lottery opportunities. It's really surprising that Shi Qian and his team were able to perform exceptionally well and work together to kill the early martial artists. Jin Yu let go of her worries. The information of the summoning unit has not changed much, indicating that all 3 of Shi Qian are still alive. Now, just wait for them to come and meet, then quietly head north. Stay with the enemy and understand the situation of Xian Hu. It is estimated to take several days. At that time, Jin Yu had already left the territory of the imperial capital, and it would be difficult for him to find their traces. After all, there are thousands of roads, so Jin Yu definitely wouldn't go racing. Even if the people behind the scenes hold immense power, it is difficult to find a needle in a haystack. Jin Yu suddenly relaxed in her heart, took a long breath, and instructed Zhao Lili. Can you go and see if you can find a clean water source nearby? Shi Qian and his team will be coming soon, so I would like to take a shower next. Zhao Lili was ordered to go. Jin Yu no longer endured, reached out and pulled Qian Huixin over, kissing her with a big mouth, and her claws were caressing up and down. This time he was fearless, feeling happy, completely relaxed and completely unaware of restraint. He kissed Qian Huixin like a 7 meat and 8 vegetable, almost suffocating. Upon hearing the commotion, returning Zhao Lili couldn't help but blush. She quickly avoided a distance and dared not approach to disturb. Zhao Lili already understood that Lord's words were not about wine, but about seeking water sources, but actually harboring a malicious intention of supporting herself and bullying Qian Huixin. Jin Yu was completely intoxicated and no longer suppressed her desires. Qian Huixin's seductive eyes were like silk, inevitably sinking into it. Seeing 2 people about to achieve good things. A figure suddenly leaped out of the nearby wild forest, wielding a sword and charging towards it with a palm strike. Pop! The palm knife was like an electric shock, hitting Qian Huixin's neck, causing the peak martial artist who was immersed in warmth to lose consciousness with just a muffled groan. Then there was a sharp blade, which was mounted on Jin Yu's neck. Now Jin Yu was shocked and her heart was completely awakened from the burning desire, falling into the ice cave. Indulging for a moment, immediately being beaten back to its original form. Jin Yuzhen settled down and saw that the woman's clothes were worn out, her face was covered in dust, and she couldn't see her appearance clearly. However, her soft and smooth skin around her ears, neck, and neck indicated that she was a young low-level warrior. Who are you? Why did you attack me? Task release escape from the hands of female bandit Jin Xiaowan. Reward 100 martial arts points upon receiving the temporary task. Jin Yu felt instantly nervous. That's it, this female bandit is also surnamed Jin. One wave has not yet subsided, and another wave has risen again. Careless, you shouldn't be complacent and hold on to Qian Huixin tightly without letting go. Otherwise, how could this Jin family's minions succeed so easily? Far away. Zhao Lili's heart thumped and she rushed towards Jin Yu. Sir. But I saw the female thief holding a blade, with her iron sword moving and the blade pressing against the vital point of Zhenyu's throat. Pooh, you shameless pervert, did I ever let you speak? Pop. Zhenyu was hit on the head by Jin Shaowan. Hiss, pain. You treat my head like a basketball. Unfortunately, Zhenyu did not dare to resist. What does the girl want? Are you a warrior from the Jin family? How did you know that I came from the Jin family? Did you intentionally come towards me? Listen to this girl, tie up your accomplice. And the one next to me, let her stay away from me. Jin Shaowan threw out the sturdy grass rope she carried with her and landed in front of Zhenyu. Zhenyu wanted to cry without tears. Feeling the chill emanating from the deadly blade in his neck, he could only bind Qian Huixin, who had been knocked unconscious by Jin Shaowan. Xiner has a delicate figure, but unfortunately her cultivation level is lower. Zhenyu was not tied too tightly either. He looked at Jin Shaowan and said cautiously. Miss Jin, don't be impulsive. We're not here for you. How do you know my surname is Jin? Tell me. Pop. Zhenyu was hit on the head again. A few yards away, Zhao Lily was both anxious and angry. Don't be reckless. Where can Jin Shaowan listen? Immediately, another slap hit Zhenyu's head. Humph, if you want your master to live, just shut up for me, otherwise I'll take his life. Jin Shaowan was not polite, pulling Zhenyu's hair with her left hand and tightening her sharp blade with her right hand. Seeing her life in danger, Zhenyu quickly called out. Don't be impulsive, Zhao Lily, please step back. Miss Jin, why do you need to ask so clearly? The Jin family is sending someone to kill me now, but I didn't expect that besides the martial artists, they have also sent a girl. It's really a formidable force that makes it difficult to defend against. But what's strange to me is, how could Miss be so clear about my whereabouts? Jin Xiaowan's eyes slightly changed. Shut up, whatever I ask you, just answer it. I'm staying here well, but you insist on getting closer, sneaking around and not saying anything. You're a pervert in the wilderness, doing such a promiscuous thing. I don't like you, it's you who tied me up, you little pervert. Zhenyu was stunned for a moment and couldn't help but feel aggrieved. Miss Jin, Xiner and I like each other. It's just that you're willing to do it, but I didn't mean to offend you. I can't figure it out. This place is very remote, how could it be your territory, Mississippi? Pop. He was slapped on the head again. What do you know about you? I say so. And besides, I'm so old that I haven't even met my favorite husband. You, a lecherous thief, dare to compromise in front of me. Of course, I have to deal with you. You know you're in the wilderness, but you're acting on your maid. You don't even know shame in the world. As she spoke, Jin Xiaowan's eyes were filled with resentment. Pop 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 pop. Zhenyu was beaten and cried by her. Because it really hurts. Don't hit me, it hurts. Are you really not sent by the Jin family to make things difficult for me? Jin Shaowan frowned. Which Jin family are you talking about? Listen to what you mean, I was ordered by the Jin family to kill you. I think you should not fart, so that I won't tear up your stinky mouth. Don't think it's just a matter of gossip, I will be soft on you and ask for less money from you. I always have a bottom line when robbing. Miss, it is known that the most prominent Jin surname in the nearby Zhongjing city should be the Zhongshuan Bo mansion. Did Zhongshuan uncle's mansion send someone to pursue you? If it's not unexpected, I shouldn't have wronged them. I'm skeptical. Did the loyalty uncle's mansion send you out to lure me to appear and try to eradicate the root cause? Miss has a grudge against Zhongshuan uncle's mansion. Humph. My father's achievements were swallowed up by them, otherwise how could I have been wandering in the wilderness since I was young? I once killed the butler of the loyal and Shun uncle's mansion before, and I wish I could not defeat my fellow enemies. Oh. Haha, so you're all part of the same group. Please let go, girl. After all, the enemy should be friends. Pop pop. Jin Yu was slapped twice on the head again. Jin Shaowan angrily rebuked. Who is your friend? Ah, who is your friend? How could I be friends with a lecherous thief like you? Although I haven't read a book, what I hate the most is you, a lecherous thief. Before, someone had an evil heart towards me and was stabbed to death by my sword. Where did you just look? Upon hearing these words, Jin Yu felt aggrieved in her heart. I pretended to be getting close to you, deceiving you, this savage woman, to let go. As a result, you actually have so many twists and turns. It's really unreasonable. It's completely unreasonable. Playing cards completely out of common sense. Chapter 9. Willing to marry a girl. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Jin Yu's head was about to be knocked unconscious. At the moment of stalemate, 3 people from Shiqian appeared. On the carriage, Sun Jiejia watched over Xia Ji who had fainted. Horses, weapons, etc. were all brought back by Shiqian and his team. Seeing Jin Yu being forced by the sharp sword of a female thief from afar, Shiqian couldn't help but be shocked and jumped up from his horse to charge closer. Bold, don't let go of adults yet. Jin Shaowan suddenly became nervous. She could see that Shiqian had mastered the Deshang body method. Shameless pervert, do you have a peak warrior under your command? Tell me, who the hell are you? Originally, Jin Shaowan was invisible and had no intention of taking action. However, seeing Zhao Lily, who was also a low-level warrior, move away, she couldn't resist Jin Yu's shameless behavior, so she couldn't help but take action. After all, she is running out of food again and must find a way to grab some money. Jin Yu was very angry, but she could only stop the rescue. Don't get close to Shiqian. This Jin Vexia is the master of this place, and we shouldn't disturb her recklessly. Jin, my name is Jin Yu. I used to be the crown prince of Zhongqing, but now my whole family has been harmed by treacherous officials. I am the only one left to return home and serve as a military officer in my hometown. The Jin family that you hate is mostly my enemy. So, what does the girl want? She is willing to let go of me. An accident flashed in Jin Xiaowan's eyes. She thought for a moment and suddenly became angry. Don't lie, are you deliberately making fun of me being alone? Since you are the count and crown prince, why are you all dressed in tattered clothes? Also, I often pay attention to the situation in the city. I heard that Jin Yu is a famous beautiful man in the capital city. With your current appearance, how dare you impersonate him? I should have killed you. Jin Yu was so frightened that she hugged her head. Don't act, I've changed my face. If you don't believe me, look. As he spoke, he raised his hand and rubbed his face, causing dust to fall off and revealing a handsome and beautiful appearance. Jin Shaowan was stunned and suddenly extended her left arm, wrapping it around Jin Yu's neck and pulling him into her arms. The sharp sword on the right hand tightened even more, carefully examining Jin Yu. After a moment, I saw that she was already smiling and her eyes lit up. You are so handsome. Are you really the loyal and diligent prince? Jin Yu couldn't say what she felt in her heart. He has been stared at by women too many times. But now, Jin Shaowan is different from others. This female thief not only forcibly held him in her arms, but also used a sharp sword to hold his throat, making him afraid to move and struggle. If something unexpected happens to Jin Shaowan, there will also be multiple cuts in his throat. I am Jin Yu, and now I have been chased, so I have changed my appearance. Can you please take away your sword, Mississippi? There is a misunderstanding between us. I can understand the difficult situation that Miss has been living alone for many years and experiencing various pains, so you don't want to easily trust others. But we have never met Miss, how could we target her for no reason? This is all a misunderstanding. There's some truth to this, would you marry me? Zhen Yu was stunned and greatly surprised. What? Is the girl joking? Jin Shaowan snorted coldly and said seriously. I'm not joking. If you don't marry me, I won't let you go. You're so handsome and don't like me, but if you like other women, I feel very unhappy. So even if I don't kill you, I should castrate you. As she spoke, she suddenly pushed down Zhen Yu, and with a swish of her sword, it stabbed into the middle of Zhen Yu's legs. Shi Qian and others exclaimed in unison, no way. Zhen Yu's face turned white, and a cold sweat flowed down her forehead. Don't. Jin Shaowan stopped at the right time and said coldly. Have you decided not to marry me, Jin Shaowan? Zhen Yu is going crazy. But he also understood that Jin Shaowan did not understand human relationships and worldly wisdom. Even her words and actions may seem foolish, but she dares to do what she says. An extraordinary tiger. So no matter what, he cannot risk lifelong happiness. Zhen Yu said loudly. I promise you to marry a girl. Seeing the female thief wielding a sword and threatening, the adult rooster was in danger. Shi Qian and others looked at each other, unsure of how to respond. Although Jin Shaowan is unfamiliar with people, it does not mean that she is easily deceived and immediately disdains Tao. This sounds fake. You're already married, so let's get rid of your original wife first. I used to be separated from her, but now I'm alone below. Oh. What's wrong with the maid Xaner next to you? She is my concubine, and I have some feelings for her. Please don't hurt her. In the future, when I marry you, Xaner will also obey your orders. It's just a family. Upon hearing this, Jin Shaowan felt very unhappy. I heard that after castration, men won't think too much about women anymore. Now I'll castrate you first, and then go and find out if what you're saying is true or false. Zhen Yu saw a sharp sword moving between her legs, and her soul couldn't help but flee. Wait a moment, then you can't marry me. Jin Shaowan was stunned for a moment. I think even if the little pig is castrated, it's okay. It still eats long and strong, isn't it? Far away. Shi Qian, Zhao Lily, and others have already reacted. Adults are really dangerous. We must explain it to her clearly. At present, everyone spoke in unison. Different. Jin Vexia, people are different from pigs. Wow. Jin Shaowan couldn't help but frown, holding a sharp blade in her right hand and holding her chest high with her left hand crossed over her waist, looking around angrily. Why is it different? Zhen Yu wanted to retreat, but was grabbed by Jin Shaowan's collar and could only explain with a trembling voice. Miss, you can't take action, otherwise even if I marry you, I won't be able to have a baby in the future. Jin Shaowan was skeptical and suddenly showed a smile. On her gray-black face, a pair of eyes appeared bright. Are you planning to marry me? That's good. Jin Shaowan withdrew her sword, pulled Zhen Yu up, but then put the sword around his neck, warning Shi Qian. You're called Shi Qian, right? You just wanted to take action on me and save Zhen Yu, right? Humph, I also took action quickly, so Zhen Yu would definitely die. Shi Qian was startled and unconsciously took 2 steps back. This female bandit may seem carefree, but in fact, she is very alert. She should not be young, but she is already a beginner with a talent different from ordinary people. Jin Vexia, don't misunderstand. Since the adult wants to marry you, how could we act? I see that although the girl is alone, her martial arts skills are extraordinary, and we may not be your opponents. Jin Shaowan smiled slightly, but she didn't let her guard down. She turned her head and coerced Zhen Yu. I won't let you go. Your warriors are powerful and flexible. If I let you go, they won't let me go. Unless you sincerely marry me or let your subordinates commit suicide, I can let you go. Zhen Yu was helpless. Miss Jean, I swear to heaven that as long as the girl marries me, Jinyu will never retaliate, but will respect and cherish the girl for life. If I violate this oath, I will be struck with thunder and death. Humph, what's the use of swearing and gambling? I kidnapped a passing merchant before and got some silver money to make them swear poison. But when I let go of that person, I was chased and beaten by a group of warriors. It's shameless to say that. Jinyu dared not refute and could only nod in agreement. The girl is absolutely right. Unlike merchants, I am a military official in the imperial court, and I will always keep my word. Jin Shaowan exerted force on her hand and pulled up Jinyu. Those officials, if they can keep their promises, the refugees won't starve to death. Follow me. The two of them took hundreds of steps deep into the forest and entered a cave. That is located in the dense forest and difficult to detect from the outside. Jinyu suddenly realized. Originally, what Jin Shaowan had said before was true. She really lives nearby. Think carefully. A young girl living in a remote forest cave, lonely and pitiful. Jinyu saw that there were all the tables and chairs inside the cave, as well as stone beds and bedding, and smiled. Miss Jean is telling the truth. We can work together to deal with the Jean family. Jin Shaowan grabbed Jinyu tightly and issued a warning to the time migration and others who followed outside the cave. Don't get close, otherwise I'll die with him. Jinyu smiled bitterly and instructed Shi Qian and the others not to approach. Jin Shaowan dragged over the wooden fence at the entrance of the cave, firmly pressed it with a thick stick, and turned to Jinyu. In the cave, there are only two people left. Jinyu feels that the situation is not very good. Miss Jean, what exactly do you want? I want you to marry me now. Also, I want some silver. Chapter 10. Abducting Your Heart. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Listening to Jin Shaowan's words, Jinyu wondered. Miss, covering her face with dust, I have never seen her true face before. Even if I marry you, I should still hold a grand banquet, celebrate well, and have someone preside over the witness. Also, how much silver do you want? If you marry me, I'll be happy. I want 2 taels of silver. Jinyu was stunned because Jin Shaowan wouldn't lie. After a while, he said incredulously. You kidnapped me for only 2 taels of silver. Yes, 2 taels of silver can buy a lot of salt. If you can't take it out for a while, 1 or 2 taels of silver will do. I also need to buy rice and oil, but not too little. Jinyu felt absurd in her heart for a moment. But he dared not show dissatisfaction when facing the sharp blade in Jin Shaowan's hand. I'll give you money, then you'll let me go. You still have to marry me. Jinyu pondered for a moment and spoke sincerely. Miss Jean, there was a misunderstanding between us. Silver is nothing to me. I will keep all the dry food, salt, and other goods that everyone carries for you. As for silver, it is now in the hands of my maid Xia, and I will let her share half of it with you. After a pause, Jinyu said again. But when it comes to marriage matters, how can we let children play around? We should consider it carefully before making a decision. You don't need to make excuses if you don't like me. Jin Shaowan snorted and walked over to the edge of the basin, holding water to wash her face and wiping it with a towel. Then, she looked up at Jinyu and smiled sweetly. So, do you think I look good? Jinyu only felt a glimmer in front of her. Jin Shaowan has a beautiful appearance, and although there are still gray marks and water stains on her face, it cannot conceal her beauty. That is natural beauty, without any decorative beauty. She exudes a natural wildness and showcases a unique charm with every move she makes. Jinyu stared at Jin Shaowan and couldn't move it away for a moment, praising her. Miss Jean, you look so beautiful. As he spoke, he instinctively reached out to pull Jin Shaowan. Upon hearing this, Jin Shaowan leaned over with a proud expression. I know you would say that. Many men have seen me before, just like you who have been staring at me. Some even come up to hug me, so of course I want to beat them up. But if I encounter someone I can't beat, I will run away quickly." Upon hearing this, Jin Yu immediately remembered that he still seemed to be a hostage. So she stopped chatting and didn't dare to provoke Jin Shaowan. However, in the next moment, Jin Shaowan took the initiative to hold Jin Yu's hand and gestured to him. "That's my parents' memorial tablet. Let's go kneel down and worship. Heaven and earth serve as evidence, and from now on, you will be my husband." Jin Yu saw the niche tablet and had to go over together, bowing to Jin Shaowan a few times. He reached out and touched his head, his face tingling with pain. Previously, he was hit hard on the head by Jin Shaowan. Although Jin Shaowan took the initiative to hold hands at this moment, Jin Yu still had lingering palpitations and dared not act recklessly. Jin Shaowan saw this and pulled Jin Yu closer, pouting and blowing air on his head. "Just now, I was deceived by you and thought you looked very ugly, that's why I hit you. Now, blowing on you won't hurt anymore. When my mother was still here, blowing on the uncomfortable parts of me would make me feel much better. In the future, I will protect you and no longer hit you casually. If you're angry with me, then I'll fight back." Speaking, Jin Shaowan shook her head and reached out to Jin Yu. Jin Yu couldn't help but laugh and cry, and her courage grew stronger. He reached out and grabbed Jin Shaowan's slender waist. "Shaowan, how old are you?" "I am 18 years old. 1 year older than me, but looking younger than me." Jin Shaowan grabbed Jin Yu's neck, gave him a kiss on the face, and encouraged him. "Hello, good practice. If you can become a martial artist, your lifespan will be extended, and maybe you will become even more handsome. I can teach you martial arts." Jin Yu nodded and employed a strategy to slow down the troops. "Always settle down and then seriously cultivate. Shaowan, it's also appropriate for us to pay respects to our elders together, and we should even pray for them in the future. However, when it comes to my marriage to you, I should take it seriously. Otherwise, I will feel sorry for you in my heart." Jin Shaowan didn't agree. "You have me in your heart, no matter what, I am still your wife. You don't have me in your heart, lying and deceiving all day. Even if you marry me, it's not interesting." Jin Yu suddenly remembered Lu Mei. Compared to Jin Shaowan, Lu Mei is mature and charming. However, the words and actions of that ex-wife appeared to be hypocritical. "Shaowan, I'm going to the north, to my hometown Qianlin Road. Would you like to come with me?" "I don't want to. Why don't we hide here and have a baby together? What can we do to go to your hometown?" "It was the emperor's decree to send me back to my hometown and serve as a military officer. It's not that the Jin family took action against you. I know there are many of them, don't you worry about yourself. Why don't you hide it? Even if you go to Qianlin Road, what's the use?" Jin Yu was stunned for a moment and said with a bitter smile. "I can't say for sure. However, there are some things that need to be done in order to grow and find more like-minded partners. That way, we can fight against our enemies and just want to avoid them, which is mostly not possible." Jin Shaowan frowned and said. "I can't figure it out, but if you insist on returning to your hometown, then I'll be with you as long as you have me in your heart. When you encounter a powerful Jin family lackey, I might run away and then find a way to avenge you." Jin Yu suddenly felt speechless. "You speak so directly, is this a curse on me to be beaten to death? When they are here, we won't have any problems. You don't actually know that although the outside world is dangerous, it is also bustling and bustling. You can't just look at the surface when you see people. Maybe one day, if you hate me again, you will take the initiative to leave." Jin Shaowan shook her head. "Don't worry about me, I know. After all, I tied you up. Now it seems that you still have a heart, and I won't stop you anymore. Task completed, reward 100 martial arts points, remaining 900 martial arts points, the reward came suddenly. Zhen Yu chuckled slightly and held Jin Shaowan tighter. Suddenly remembered that there was still a chance for a lottery. Congratulations on drawing one card for intermediate and high-level warriors. Congratulations on winning 2 martial loyalty pills. 2 Wuzhong pills make up 1,600 martial arts points. Zhen Yu considered whether to purchase the Wuzhong Dan before. I didn't expect to draw 2 directly. Summon successfully, in still nearby refugees, high-level warrior Li Gong, arrive within 20 minutes, name. Li Gong, life. 26/126, cultivation. Advanced martial arts master, origin. Migrant, martial arts. Basic fist technique, Xiaocheng, basic palm technique, Xiaocheng, basic leg technique, Xiaocheng, basic sword technique, Xiaocheng, basic knife technique, Xiaocheng, basic arrow technique, Xiaocheng, riding technique, proficient. Li Gong mastered 6 minor martial arts skills, but unfortunately did not have any martial arts skills similar to Xia Zhi's green snake body technique. If he continues to deepen his accumulation, he will be able to master the ultimate martial arts skills, achieve the pinnacle of martial arts, and have the possibility to challenge the martial arts realm. After thinking for a moment, Zhen Yu took out a Wuzhong pill and handed it to Jin Shaowan. This is a pill that can enhance one's martial arts talent and cultivation. It is worth thousands of taels of gold and is hard to come by. If you are willing to follow me now, then eat it. Jin Shaowan snorted and looked at the pill handed over by Zhen Yu, but refused to reach out and take it. Doubtful on the face. Although I don't know much, my father is a 4th-grade military official in the court. He has outstanding martial arts talents and has achieved the pinnacle of martial arts. I remember when I was young, he told me not to eat pills indiscriminately. Also, pills that increase martial arts talents and cultivation are rare treasures that you can easily take out. So, is there a ghost in here? Zhen Yu reached out and pulled Jin Shaowan into her arms, giving her a soft kiss. If you want to marry me, I wouldn't want to harm you either. This medicine is very precious, and the only side effect is to increase your talent in cultivation, while also taking away your heart, making you give up on me wholeheartedly, even obediently. So, do you want to take it? Jin Shaowan was conflicted on the surface, but ultimately took over Wu Zhongdan. I think you're handsome, that's why I'm willing to go with you. Don't make fun of it. I'm bored staying alone, so let's go see the north with you.